As a leader, one of the challenges of innovation that you need to be prepared to address is the value of innovation. What's the return on all this effort? I'm working on the periphery, I'm investing in unknown things. When am I going to see a dollar's return? When am I going to see profit? These are the exact same challenges that every early funded startup has to address. We'd like to show you a simple calculation for return on design or return on design thinking or return on innovation that equates to the metrics that chief financial officers are used to. Return on design is a little like return on equity. Now, if you're familiar with return on equity, you know that it's just income over equity, a very common measure for determining the value of a public company, and this is what stock traders use as one of their primary metrics. But as a manager, you would break it down to something that was more actionable. Profit, efficiency, and leverage are the three multipliers that have their own fractions associated with them that you might use. So profit represents income over sales. Multiply that for efficiency by sales over assets. Multiply that by assets over equity or leverage to get income over equity. If you're not familiar with doing the math on fractions, that's how the multipliers work. But really just think of it logically. What you're doing is saying, as I run this business, how profitable is it? How efficient is it? And how well am I leveraging my assets? How am I taking advantage of the, for example, the plant and materials and assets that I have that underpin my business? Are they efficient or are they too expensive? Return on design or return on design thinking has a very similar central fraction, which is income over concept. Scott Anthony, the CEO of Innosight, the business originally founded by Clayton Christensen, came up with this method to help his clients understand how they could demonstrate a return on their investment in innovation. And similarly, because income per concept is far too high level to be a useful metric for managing innovation, it's broken into three components: scale, hit rate, and efficiency. Scale, which is income over launch, means how much is it costing me to launch a new, viable, desirable, feasible solution. The second factor is hit rate, which is launch over capital, which means how much is it costing me for each launch. And that's a function of how, across all my launches, how many of them are succeeding. The more success I have, the higher the numerator in this ratio, and therefore the better the average. So what you want to do is try and increase either the number of launches that succeed or reduce the cost per launch. And then lastly, it's efficiency, which is the amount of capital per concept that you're investing. How efficient are you with your money? Does it cost you a little or a lot to produce these concepts? So you need to produce a bunch of concepts, you need to be able to launch them efficiently, and you need to derive income from those launches. That is your return on design. Track it, report it, just like the CFO does return on equity, through the same three kinds of factors. And what you'll find is that you can improve your innovation hit rates and improve your capital expenditure increasingly over time by tracking the right metrics.